Hello and welcome back to the third part of my playthrough of Sonic Mania. And here is Hydrocity Zone from Sonic 3. An interesting thing about this level is that all the past levels so far have been like the first act is kind of more faithful to the original design, and then the second act is where they throw in the new stuff. But here they kind of do the opposite, as you're about to see. Like here, there are these hook switches that are new. There's a few new things here. Like this part here of the level is very similar to the first act, but you see there's a lot of new stuff here. Not all of which I like, but we'll get to them. Here is these conveyor belt things. Hold on a second. Just do this. So here's another new thing, this boat. So you move it by shifting your weight along the boat. So the closer you are to one of its extremities, the faster it will go to that direction. If we're close to the center, then it will, like right here, we're at the very center, so it wasn't moving at all. The thing with these new gimmicks, as you're seeing right now, is that they are very slower paced, which is why I feel like they did this switch of like putting them in Act 1 instead of Act 2, because Act 2 has like that faster music. That didn't make much sense. Here's our second new gimmick, which is not entirely new. It is this bubble. You couldn't quite see because I had the bubble shield, but basically it's like this air bubble that you kind of ride. It is not entirely new. It was a thing in the 8-bit Sonic games, and it sucked there, and it kind of sucks here. It doesn't suck again. The bad elements that Sonic Mania brought back from other games, they're better here. They don't suck as much, but it's still like, why would you put this? This sucked in its original game. Hold on, I have the water shield already, but I'm pretty sure I can get that one over there. See, right here, like, it's so satisfying to pull these things off. It's so satisfying to like know Sonic's movement. Basically, I think that a lot of people don't know this, but basically a very important thing about Sonic's movement is that if you're going down, like here's Sonic's normal jump. If you're going downhill, your jump the verticality of it is lowered a lot, but Sonic goes much faster. It's a longer leap. And if you're running uphill, then it does the opposite, where it's like this very long jump, but you don't get a lot of horizontal movement out of it. So keep that in mind when playing Sonic. Have that. Start practicing that. Start thinking on that. Is how you really start playing Sonic well. Don't think of Sonic's momentum the way that Sonic kind of like slows down or speeds up depending on where he is. Don't think of it as a defect or something annoying. Think of it as like, part of your movement. Something that gives you more opportunities if you know how to use them in interesting ways. It's why I feel like levels that have a lot of sloping stuff are way more interesting than levels that are, flat. And going uphill, presents with a lot of opportunities. Like, like what I just did there. So it's not just like going downhill, having a little roller coaster ride. They put a lot of water shields here because, well, bubble shields, I guess their official name is, because they know that they're useless otherwise. here's the one level that they're kind of useful in all of Sonic Mania. There are no water levels in this game other than Hydrocity Zone. I mean, there's like water in a few levels in like Green Hill and Chemical Plants, but I don't consider those water levels really. And the water in Green Hill is so little, there's not much water. Not a fan of these bubbles, especially on your first time through. You don't really understand how the bubble moves. Like, it was going downwards, as you could see there. It was going downwards and then it went upwards. It's very confusing. Here is our mini-boss. Well, sorta. It's the lead up to the mini-boss. It's not quite there yet. So this is the boss for Hydrocity Zone. The actual boss and not mini boss is what I'm riding on. So basically this is kind of like a role reversal. We pull Eggman in, hit him. We try not to pull in these bombs right here because they will damage us. However, if we press down, we can use our bombs to destroy those bombs. So, and if we pull in, if Dr. Robotnik is kind of like facing the other direction, he will be pulled in much slower, so you gotta be on the lookout for that. So you pull him in and not his bombs. But yeah, it's a very simple boss. Will I get him? Yeah, I got him. It's a very simple boss, very easy boss, but he has an issue with that I have with a lot of bosses in Sonic Mania. In that if I got hit there, all my rings would fly off and I would have no chance of recovering them because there is no floor for them to bounce around. A lot of bosses in Sonic Mania, especially from this point on, have this issue of like, you can't really grab your rings back if you get hit by them, which makes a lot of these bosses like needlessly much harder than they should be. Here's Hydrocity Act 2. This level is actually very interesting two-player because, you know, those crumbling things that I avoided, you know, they crumble and only one player can get the upper path in this level, and then the other one will have to go to the lower, less fast path. Take this shortcut right here. Oh man, this level feels so good. It's just, there's so much sliding around. It's just this very fun water park. I think Hydrocity Zone is one of my favorite levels in Sonic because it's basically like, it takes Chemical Plant, which is just, you know, this highway start type level, and kind of like perfects it a little bit, you know? You have like these pillars right here that you do some platforming. There's a lot of platforming in Hydrocity Act 1 and 2, but it's also like really fast paced as well. Because you get like these cool moments of like going down and up and down these water slides, and you know. Here's a thing that I want to talk about this game. The original Hydrocity Zone also had this, and I think it's one of the prettiest things about Sonic 3. But look at the water right here. Look at this parallax. Look at how the parallax in the background sort of follows the water level of the level itself. It's a very pretty effect that you... I challenge you to see what games implement this sort of effect in their platformers, because there are very few that do this. That do just like 3D water stretching out to the horizon. And it solves an issue with water backgrounds in platformers, is that, you know, like, think, what if this was like an open field, right? Like if this wasn't like a labyrinth or like an underground city, and there was like this big island in the background. How that kind of background would be impossible without an effect like this. I mean, it would be possible, it would just look terrible. Because then if you go underwater, you would be able to see like the horizon with the sea and the island, you know, on top of it, which is just like not how things work underwater, you know? You'd only be able to see the bottom part of the island. You won't be able to see like the top part of the island when you're, you know, if the background was this island, the horizon. And that's a very hard thing to solve, you know? Like, Sonic games prior to Sonic 3 just quote-unquote solve this problem by just like shifting the background once you go under a certain height of the level, like Aquatic Ruin Zone, for instance. You know, it would just kind of have like this layer of grass on top of the background, so you wouldn't see the background, and the background would just be like these leaves. Labyrinth Zone was just like this tile set, this repeating tile set the background was, to avoid this issue. And Sonic 3 just kind of like solves it. It doesn't really even need to solve this, but it does, and it looks pretty as hell. And I really appreciate that Sonic Mania manages to replicate that effect. It's a very pretty effect, and it shows how the developers of Mania are really skilled at making this game feel genuine, feel like this genuine lost Sonic game for the Saturn that we never got. Here's this boss. This boss kind of sucks because it has the same issue that I talked before of like, if you lose all your rings, if you get hit, you just lose all your rings. There's no way to get any of them back. So it is an easy boss if you don't screw up at all. But if you do, you get screwed up. And this is only the first part of the boss. Here's the second part of the boss. It is the mini-boss for Sonic 3. And in Sonic 3, this mini-boss was much easier because you could do the insta-shield. But right here, it is much harder. But, oh, I got it! I got it! Oh my god, this trick is really hard to do. I can never get it right. It feels so satisfying to get it. Oh wow, that was amazing. Wow. I'm very proud of this. I'm very, very proud of this. Here's Mirage Saloon, and here is when I first played through this game. This was very disappointing because I was looking forward to Mirage Saloon. But that was Heavy Magician, by the way, the next heavy, hard-boiled heavy they were gonna fight. I was very disappointed with this because here's a zone that I was very much looking forward to. A zone that looks great, and the first act is literally Sky Chase Zone from Sonic 2. Except you can even argue that it is kind of worse because it kind of like, instead of just auto-scrolling rightwards, it kind of like, as you can see, it scrolls up and down, and it's just very, in your first time through, it's very hard to predict these very sudden scrolling changes. Okay, I need to talk about this. Here is another reason why I think Sonic Mania is one of the prettiest pixel art games of the modern generation. Prettier than Owlboy, prettier than Shovel Knight, prettier than what's the name? Stardew Valley, and it's this right here. Pay attention to the background. Pay attention. Ta-da! It was early morning and then suddenly it is midday. And you might be thinking, wow, that wasn't impressive at all. But it did this by palette shifting. That's right, this game operates in palettes, much like games of in the Mega Drive, in the NES, in the Super Nintendo would. And that's just crazy to me. That's just insane. But it allows for effects like that. It allows for these effects of like changing the palette of the level like that without looking cheap, without looking bad. There's a special stage right here. And it looks fantastic, you know, if you compare to Owlboy and Stardew Valley. Do Google searches of like Stardew Valley Night or Owlboy Night and you will see what I mean. They use the same graphics for like nighttime and daytime, and the graphics were clearly made for daytime, and then to do the nighttime they apply some filters, some like filters in whatever game engine they use, Unity or whatnot, and it looks terrible. The pixel art just looks terrible. It's an incredible disservice to the pixel art of those games. And if they had done this, which, you know, granted it's I understand why people wouldn't go for this. It's kind of nuts. But palette shifting palettes like that really makes your Pixar game feel incredibly authentic, because you can instantly tell when a game doesn't operate on that, when a game wants to shift a character's color and it doesn't operate in palette shifting. Anyway, we're on this train right here. If you see this oil rig here, it will give you a hint of what's the next level after this one. But we are on this train right here. Like, Tails kind of dropped off on this train and we're storming it, and then you get on this gun cannon, and then suddenly we're back on Tails. I feel like many people didn't consciously... Hold on, I need to talk about this for a moment. I feel like many people didn't consciously think of this, but why did Sonic even aboard this train? What's the reason for the train to be there? I mean, it's cool looking, but think about the narrative of the stage. We storm this train, but we don't do anything aboard it, and we shoot ourselves right off of it back into this plane to fight a boss. So here's this boss. It's a very cool effect. I'm a sucker for these kinds of like Space Harrier 3D scaling effects, but it is a pain to fight because it's very hard to see. Well, not right now. He's not going from the foreground to from the background to the foreground, but it's very, as you can see here, it's very hard to see when is it the right time to hit it. It's very annoying in a game like this. So while this is a very cool looking effect, please don't do this. And this boss also has the issue that I talked before of like, if you lose your rings, there's no floor to bounce them back up. So you just lose them. So again, this boss is just unnecessarily hard because it was not a great idea to begin with, to have a boss that comes from the foreground to the background like that. Again, it is a cool effect, but it makes it very imprecise to judge distance, to judge when is it the right time to hit the boss. It is not a boss that I like. Oh, what's this? It's Fang! It's Fang from Sonic Triple Trouble and Sonic the Fighters. I was so happy to see him. Here's the Rio Mirage Saloon Zone. This level is great. I love this level so much. This is one of the best levels in Mania, in Sonic in general. but it is also extremely short, which made me ultra frustrated about the fact that the first act wasn't even a real level. Again, the thing that I talked before about, like, this game, graphic design wise, just does not, I feel like it is a little bit careless. Like this totem right here, the wings are sort of the platforms, and then the giant totem itself is not something, it's something that you pass through, except for the very top of the head. And this totem, it's a cylinder. It's a massive cylinder. It looks massive. It has this volume to it. The wings are not protruding out of it. You know, they look like they're parallel to it. So this, you know, being able to jump like this, it doesn't really make any sense at all. I mean, maybe, you know, we can make a case that like the top part of these wings are like protruding out. You can definitely do like a 3D projection of this where this kind of makes sense, but it doesn't give me that vibe. Here's this enemy. I love this enemy. This originally is from Spring Yard Zone, but in here it's kind of like a 2.0 version of it. And what it does here is that it kind of follows you around, spin dashing at you. And as long as it's in ball form, you know, just like the Metal Sonic boss, as long as it's in ball form, if you are in ball form as well, it kind of cannot hit you. I was talking about something before the boss. Palette shifting, I don't know. This level is kind of Dust Hill Zone from Sonic 2, the scrap level. Christian Whitehead, you know, the taxman, the main guy who people talk about when talking about this game. He is a big fan of Dust Hill Zone. He tried to have this level, or like a super early iteration of this level, in Sonic CD when he was remaking Sonic CD in 2011. You know, for Sega, the Steam version of Sonic CD, the Steam and mobile version of Sonic CD. And he was like, he just loves Dust Hill so much. He pitched that to Sega. Sega was like, no, let's make just this a straight port. And the first fan game that he did, the very first demo of the first fan game that he did, has Dust Hill Zone in it. So this level is also interesting in the sense that it's like, this is his dream come true. He did it. He made a new Dust Hill Zone. I mean, there's definitely a lot more to this than what we saw in Dust Hill Zone, but that's for the best. This level is great. You know, it's kind of like this. It's kind of like a pinball level a little bit. It has the saloon theme to it. It's a great new original level. It's pinata bumpers there too. Look at these Wanted posters. You know, Knack, Fang. You know, this Knack or Fang, Bean, and Bark, all free from Sonic the Fighters. They're kind of like these obscure Sonic characters that never returned, that are only confined in the classic series a little bit, in a couple of classic series games. We need to get that one up right there. I can just do this. There's a section of this level that I actually kind of enjoy, but I don't think I'll be able to show it. Anyway, this level's great. And we're already at the end of it. I like these portraits, you know. They close their eyes if you're looking at them. They follow you. Here's another boss. Remember those Wanted posters? Here's Heavy Magician. Heavy Magician transforms into the into the characters that we saw in the posters. You know, that was Knack or Fang, and this is Bean. Bean throws bombs around. And then there is Spark. It's just, you know, slams his fists. I'm not a big fan of this boss because it has that same issue that I talked before of like, it's not really clear when is it okay to attack. Like right here, it was not, but then like a millisecond later it is. And it's a very easy boss, even if they kind of add this little invincibility time so you don't exploit them. But yeah, it's a great level. It's a shame that it's short. I can beat this in like under a minute, basically. It's a very short level if you don't screw around like I did. And here is Oil Ocean. By the way, I think that just like shooting yourself from one level to another from a cannon is kind of like a lame way to do a level transition. Anyway, here's Oil Ocean because, you know, our favorite level. And this is kind of like where I started getting grumpy a little bit, like, oh, Oil Ocean was not a great level, why is this here? But it's okay. They do an okay job with this. And to be fair, it is a very cool looking level. I mean, if I was making Sonic Mania, I would definitely consider Oil Ocean a lot as a level to make, but you know, because it's just so cool looking, such a cool theme, I would like to make a very good level out of it. And the graphics look great too. Like the background is sort of like new here. In the original version, the background was sort of like black. The shadow of the industries were black, but here they give this brownish red tint to them that makes them look very cool. And here is another new shoot interaction with the fire shield, which is on fire, which is very cool looking. I mean, it doesn't really do anything, but it's cool looking. That's what matters. I don't think it even destroys. I mean, I think it maybe destroys enemies, but there's just no enemies here, at least in the first act, that are in the way of the flames. It's a very cool effect. Very, God, those flames are just so well pixelated and so well animated. Just again, just looks something straight out of Metal Slug. Look at this. Oh, it's so cool. It looks so good. Such a cool animation. I think they might have streamlined this level a little bit. Some of the issues that I have with Oil Ocean is that it has a lot of these elevators, and there's a lot of right to left movement as well, which makes you feel very lost in the level if you're not playing it very like super boringly linearly. Here's a boss I don't like. Again, like these little, there's a lot of character detail, there's a lot of attention to detail, aesthetically speaking, and even mechanically speaking in this game. But then sometimes there's just little things like this that make me a little bit nitpicky, very nitpicky about this game. Is that here is this boss, and this boss is just standing there. Like this boss doesn't float up, doesn't float down from off screen or something. It just stands here like a dumbass. And of course you can't hit it at first because, you know, invincibility frames that are not clearly indicated again. And then suddenly you can. And also this boss, it will go into the background and just like start messing with that thing in the center. It will use its range to like, there were like a lot of platforms here, a lot of those platforms that like have these flames that bounce you upwards. But what they don't show you, because it's off screen, is that there are spikes in the ceiling, except for in the center. So you have to be in the center of the stage so you don't get impaled by spikes. But it's, you know, by the time you realize that, it's already too late. You're gonna die to this boss again for very little to no reason. Damn it. There are a couple fire shields hidden here. I was trying to get one of them, trying to bounce it all the way to the right. But at this point, I'm, you know, there's a lot of fire shields in this stage anyway. So this is familiar, right? This thing right here that I'm doing. Like jumping up this thing. What does it remind you of? Does it remind you of Sandopolis? Does it remind you of like the worst level in Sonic and Knuckles? You're right, it does. For this level, they decided, oh, what, you know what the twist is that we're gonna do? We're gonna add Sandopolis stuff to this level. So the level gets filled with this noxious gas that drains my rings up if I don't do anything about it. But if I press this switch right here, it, you know, it clears up the stage. Which again, very much like the light switch of Sandopolis Zone. In fact, it's the same graphic. It's kind of like a very similar mechanic. Why Sandopolis stuff? Why would you bring back Oil Ocean and then add Sandopolis stuff on top of that? It's like you want me to... It's... It almost feels like they read my thoughts and they were like, oh, we need to annoy this piece of shit. Oh, we need to annoy her. This level isn't entirely bad. Oil Ocean isn't even the worst of Sonic 2 by far. It's just, you know, the start. It's just like it's just the indicator that you're entering the bad parts of Sonic 2. But yeah, there are actually fun things here in this level that we're about to see. Damn it. Ah, damn it. My blue ring. Okay, got 55 rings. I need a fire shield. Oh no, I need a fire shield real bad. This level gives you a lot of fire shields, but I was screwing around too much and now I think I squandered my opportunity to get a fire shield. Oh, I don't like this. I think I screwed it all up. Let's see if I can spot one. Oh, what's that? There was something up there. Oh no, is this at the end of the level? Oh no, I think this is the end of the level. Okay, well. Here's a cool thing. Here's a cool thing about this level. Submarines. That's right, oil submarines, because it's called Oil Ocean. That's such a cute idea. Oh, damn it. I was trying to do the drop dash, but it wasn't. Not a lot of space here. These oil submarines are really cool. It's also a big change of pace. Like, there's no Sonic level that acts like this. It's like this enclosed room where you can see stuff ahead of you, like very far ahead of you. Oh no. Oh no, we're at the boss. Oh no. This is it. Well, I really wanted a fire shield for this boss. Well, damn it. So here's a boss. This boss is very hard at first, but there are some tricks that you can do to make it easier. It's basically the Oil Ocean boss of Sonic 2. You can see there was a tentacle with the sharp thing, exactly like Sonic 2, and then there's this tentacle that shoots these lasers, except with one thing. He has these tentacles right here. God damn it. That are from Lava Reef, from Sonic and Knuckles Lava Reef sub-boss. And those keep firing projectiles at you, and those are very hard to avoid. So my tip is, have the fire shield, because then the projectiles won't hurt you. Like, as you can see, they're so annoying to deal with. I have no rings. Again, this is another boss that has that issue of like, rings, if you lose your rings, you cannot get them back. You cannot get them back at all. So this boss kind of is like this very hard, annoying roadblock for a lot of players, from what I've seen. Oh, my controller was very weird. There. Yeah, I cannot get any fire shield now. I don't think. From this point on, the level kind of loops around itself a little bit. But there's no way to go back and try to get a shield. Yeah. I mean, I can try to go to the submarine right here. Again, yeah. Shit. I didn't think that was gonna hit me. I wanted the fire shield, especially not just because that boss is easier, but also there's a quick kill with the boss with the fire shield that I really wanted to pull off. It's very fun to do. But I won't be able to. Anyway, let's fight this boss again. So with the fire shield, you're able to defend yourself against those projectiles. So you can completely focus on just hitting the boss. But without the fire shield, you're gonna have to defeat those tentacles first, so they don't annoy you. But the cool thing is that with the fire shield, there is a way to quickly kill the two tentacles with the fire shield. That is very cool looking. Basically, I tried to do right there. Basically, you jump dash yourself between those two tentacles. You hit one of them, and then if you hit one of them right, one of those tentacles right, you start, like, again, just like the first boss of this game. You just pinball around them. You just, like, one just bounces you to the other as soon as you hit it, and then you just, like, keep hitting them once and over and over again, and you just destroy those two tentacles in, like, 2 seconds at most. It's a very cool looking trick. But unfortunately I couldn't show you. I guess I could have also done it with spin dash jump if I did it right, but couldn't quite show you. Here's Lava Reef. Again, this is not one of my favorite levels. So at this point I was like, okay, so not only this game has very few new levels and a lot of returning ones, but also this thing here is from Metallic Madness, these weight crusher things. So not only this game has very few new levels, it also brings back a lot of levels that I didn't quite like. So that, alongside like the blue sphere stuff, like feeling the obligation and the need to like constantly interrupt my progression to do some blue spheres mini games that can unlock stuff, because I didn't know what it could unlock. You know, it was launch day, so I didn't have any idea of like, maybe I need to do this, maybe I don't. I should probably get over with these blue sphere mini games. I don't have to do them again. So my very first playthrough of Mania was very mixed feelings. You know, all those issues with the graphic design that I was talking earlier, especially with the new levels, of like, oh, this doesn't look like a platform, this enemy kind of meshes together with the background too much. These were real issues that I had. These aren't just theoretical issues. And it contributed to me feeling both overwhelmed and disappointed with Mania. But when you really get down to it, when you no longer feel the need to do any of these goddamn blue spheres, these long mini games that completely interrupt the pace of the game. And once I got the hang of these levels, it's just so well designed, despite it's so great looking despite some graphical design issues and despite some game design issues, some mechanical design issues. I really wish that for the next game that they're gonna do, because you know they're gonna do a next game, because this Sega barely had to waste a penny for them to do this game. And oh, I got stuck there. Weird. Sega barely wasted a penny for them to make this game, and it is and it raked in a lot of money for them and a lot of goodwill as well. Goodwill which they completely destroyed with Sonic Forces. But well, at least Sonic Forces you can make your own Sonic OC, and they made a lot of customization options. They seem to have made a lot of customization options for the Sonic characters, which is very cool. I hope that kind of becomes a thing that they keep for some future games. Not for Sonic Mania, because you know that Sonic Mania is just not that kind of game, but it would be cool if what they took away from Forces was that the character customization is great, the rest of the game isn't. At least, you know, from what I've seen. Truth be told, I haven't played Sonic Forces, but from what I looked at it, it looked just so disappointing and just so weird. It just really felt like a game that just needed to be out. Here's another boss. Here's a boss that I don't like. Sonic 3 and Knuckles is just full of these bosses just like self-destruct themselves. That all you have to do is just kind of like wait and not get hit a bunch as they hit themselves over and over again. God damn it, I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna... And that's the issue with these bosses, that either like self-destruct or have long invulnerability periods, is that in a game like Sonic, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. You can just damage boost and just like keep grabbing the one ring over and over again. And it would be way faster. It would feel way more effective, a way more faster and effective way of beating the boss than, you know, trying to actually play it well without getting hit. So this is why I'm against these kind of bosses in Sonic games. It's just slow. It just kind of teaches the player to just like take damage and just not care, which is kind of... I feel like you should be telling the player to be like, okay, well, damage doesn't really matter too much. You know, we want you to have a good flow here with the game. But you know, please do try to not get hit. You know, there's like a reward for you to not get hit. And this game, they have this cool bonus. They have you know, when you clear a level, there's ring bonus, time bonus, and there's this cool bonus that is exactly that. It's exactly like, you know, if you don't get hit at all, you get maximum score in cool bonus. You get hit once, you get, you know, close to maximum, and so on and so forth. If you get hit a lot, you just don't get anything from cool bonus. The reason why I hate Lava Reef, to be pretty honest, is that to me it just feels like a worse Marble Zone. And Marble Zone is already like a level that kind of downplays Sonic design a lot, and I don't think it's entirely bad. I don't think it's an entirely bad level or anything. But Lava Reef just kind of feels like Marble Zone, but with worse pacing and much longer. And the second act doesn't really help much. There's a lot of very annoying platforming, very annoying traps here, which this game, again, this game still has. This game doesn't get rid of them, but it is better here. A bit, at least. It has those conveyor belts, which is new to this level. Conveyor belts that are kind of like from Quartz Quadrants of Sonic CD right here, where you can change their direction. But yeah, in Sonic and Knuckles, Lava Reef Act 2 just ends on this very slow and boring platforming section that has like no alternate path, no shortcut, no way to do it faster. Very unsonic-y and very, you know, mediocre. Which this game doesn't have, but, you know, it still has some of the annoyances. Got blue spheres. Bye. Bye. I'll get nothing, thank you. I should probably show Supersonic. I'm kind of against using Supersonic, because I want to show you the gameplay like normally. You know, Supersonic is just kind of cheating a little bit. But maybe I should use it for this level, just to, you know, I need a level to show Supersonic. Might as well use it in this one. Because I want to show almost everything from this game. Okay, so let's transform into Supersonic. Here's Supersonic. Again, Supersonic is only possible because of palette switching. Like the way that it shines and stuff. This is palette shifting. This is, you know, because this game operates in palettes, it is able to do this effect. One thing I like about Super, there's a lot of cool animations. Look at him. Oh, look at him just like tremble with power. So Supersonic has a lot of cool animations like that. Or, you know, if you're at the edge, he, you know, he doesn't care. He's not gonna fall off. He knows that. Because, you know, he's Super Saiyan Goku. A thing that I like about Supersonic here is that, much like in Sonic 2 and Sonic 3, which Sonic 2 and 3 did it because of restrictions, memory restrictions, a lot of the sprites for Supersonic are actually the same sprites for Sonic. It's just that they use a different palette. Like you know, like jumping right here is the same sprite as regular Sonic. Here's this boss. I shouldn't come here with Supersonic. I feel like it's cheating. Here's Here's another hard-boiled heavy. She's called Heavy Rider. And she is very annoying to fight with, which I'm just gonna wait for Sonic to drop out his rings so I can show it. A cool thing about this game is that they put a dedicated turn into Supersonic button, which is why I wasn't turning Super up until now. There's a button just for turning into Supersonic. Oh no, I had the fire shield. Oh, I should have just attacked this boss. Oh no. I should have just fought this boss with 0 rings. I don't know why I decided to just do that. Oh no. Oh no, the fire shield is the way to quick kill this boss too. This boss is very annoying, but it gets a lot easier with the fire shield. So she's Heavy Rider. The way to quick kill this boss is that you constantly want to jump dash at her, because otherwise she's very annoying. Because if you hit the moto bug that she rides on, you get bounced off, and if you hit the spike ball that she carries, then you get hit. So it's this very tight window, this very awkward window for a regular jump to hit. But if you have the fire shield, if you like quickly jump dash, you can kind of like hit her nearly every time, which makes this battle a lot easier. So she's very annoying otherwise. Also, there's a lot of these attacks that leave fire stuff along the ground that you're, you know, with the fire shield, you don't have to worry about them. You're invulnerable to them. A cool thing about this boss is that you see this moto bug that she rides. The moto bug that she rides is named Jimmy. And that's because there is a member of the Sonic fan gaming community called Polygon Jim. And he made this ROM hack where you play as Motobug instead of Sonic in Sonic 1. And he was sort of known for that, and he passed away a couple years back, I think, due to a car accident. And so this Motobug named Jimmy is kind of like their tribute to him. The animation of the Motobug, you know, the Motobug just sort of like jumps up, but the wheel just kind of extends downwards. That's straight up from his ROM hack of Sonic 1, from his mod of Sonic 1. So it's a very heartfelt way of honoring someone who passed away, like immortalizing him in this game, and ties back the ethos of Sonic Mania, which Takashi Iizuka, producer of the Sonic series, said that, you know, hey, you should make this game, the tagline for this game should be by the Mania for the Mania. The project direction should be that, which is, you know, and what he meant by that is, you know, something for the fans, by the fans. Everyone involved in Sonic Mania is a big fan of Sonic, and started doing fan stuff, fan works, fan art with Tyson Hesse, who was doing fan art before he was hired to do the Sonic comics, the official Sonic comics. You know, Christian Whitehead was doing fan games. Simon Fomley was doing ROM hacks and ROM hack tools for Sonic. This whole game would have not been possible if the fans were not looking into the games and reverse engineering how they work. And the tribute to Polygon Jim here is kind of ties it all together beautifully. It's not out of place. It's exactly the spirit of this game. And for now, we're gonna end this, and there's only 2 levels left. There's a few more stuff that we're also gonna do, that I'm also gonna do for the next part of this. So join me next time as we tackle Metallic Madness.